the rise each and every night. Tone and Markus got the scoop ready to ignite. From the lanes of South Street to the Broad Street lights. Dashing like a running back, hitting every play. Blind guys in the zone, never led astray. Talking touchdowns, talking game day. Huddle around the mic, hear what they gotta say. Fly like an eagle soars in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by. Bringing the heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry. Fly like an eagle soars in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by. Bringing the heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry.
Let's go, let's go, let's go. Week 2, we are in
Yes,
the building.
sir. Yes, sir.
good,
Yes,
Tony?
sir. Man, I feel great, man. Another day to watch some football. You know,
Yes, sir.
I couldn't wait to get to today's show because obviously there are a lot of fun games to talk about, but obviously the game of the week, in my opinion, is Eagles versus Chiefs. Excuse me, the Super Bowl rematch. And you know, I always struggle saying Super Bowl rematch because this game ultimately, you don't gain necessarily any trophy for this or
Nah.
any sort of badge of honor. It's, you know, it's another game on the schedule. And I think the Eagles have been treating it as such. But, you know, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, man. You guys are tuned into the Bald Eagles podcast featuring Markus Thomas of Pro Fan Talk, a.k.a. Coach Markus. Make sure you guys are subscribed and locked in on Pro Fan Talk, one of the best, giving you guys coverage on not only the NFL and the Philadelphia Eagles, but giving you guys great coverage on the WNBA as well. And make sure you guys lock in with your boy, Tone DeShields II, yours truly from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. We're always grateful for you guys being in the building. It means a lot to us. It goes a long way. So make sure you guys stay active. Y'all know the vibes. Y'all know the energy. Y'all know where our baldies be. You feel what I'm saying? So let's get into it, man. Markus, first and foremost, how you feeling, my guy?
I'm good, man. Had a good week of study, and watching some things. We were talking before we went live that I see some warts on Kansas City's line. Now, what we didn't really get into was the Eagles' offensive line did not have a great game last week. Specifically, Landon Dickerson and Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson was just average.
Yes.
So that is something that we need to get better at real quick, because I don't know what the situation with Landon Dickerson is going to be, but I kind of get a feeling that that back is going to be bothering him throughout the year, some way, shape, or form.
Right.
It's going to be one of those things where it's good until it isn't. So, but we cannot have Landon Dickerson and Jordan Mailata playing like trash. That we can't have. Somebody got to pick up the slack. So we got some issues that we got to deal with. Obviously, the whole situation with Adoree Jackson. Once again, I got to throw my hands in the air, and this is like, hey, Vic, this is what you say it's going to be. This is what it's going to be. So Vic is giving him another shot, and he got another shot to redeem himself and just play well. We ain't asking him to. We don't need 3 interceptions in the game. We just need him to play competent football.
It would be nice, though.
That's it. That'd definitely be nice. But do your job, make the plays that you can play, or make the plays that you can make, you know, and keep everything contained and do what you're supposed to do. So we'll see what's going to happen, because if I'm Kansas City, I'm going at him every time. I'm going at Adoree Jackson. It should be no secret until he shows me that he can, you know, stop the passes coming his way. Right. I would attack him, shift the formations, put people in motion, and I would go at his spot every play. Run it till they stop it.
Yeah. You said something key, right? Earlier on when you mentioned Landon Dickerson and Jordan Mailata, right? You know, they got dinged up in that Cowboys game. Landon Dickerson in particular with the back. And now Mailata was never officially listed on the injury report. Right. I think he probably just got his bell rung a little bit. But Landon, he was dealing with the back. He was a limited participant for one practice throughout the week, and then for the remainder of the week, Thursday and Friday, he was a full participant. So clearly, they feel like he has no limitations. And you're right; it's going to be important for those guys to be at their best. You're going up against Chris Jones, George Karlaftis, right? Guys like Drew Tranquil. That Chiefs defense still has some players you want to keep an eye on. And for the Philadelphia Eagles, it begins and ends with your offensive line. But I think, just staying on the injury front, and this goes back to your Adoree Jackson point. The Chiefs are going to target Adoree, but there's no better matchup that Adoree Jackson will ever have for the remainder of the season when it comes to the receivers he's going to have to face today.
Yeah.
I mean, at worst, he's going to have to deal with what Juju Smith-Schuster or a Hollywood Brown, right? And Hollywood Brown has some speed, but he's not a guy that he hasn't been the most explosive player, in particular in this Chiefs offense. Juju, same thing. And I just think Adoree Jackson, this is your opportunity. So with the Chiefs missing Rashee Rice with the suspension, missing Xavier Worthy with the shoulder, it doesn't get any more favorable than this.
Right.
Eagles are going to be without Dallas Goedert as well. So both teams have their key injuries at certain spots that does affect how they execute on offense. But when I look at the Eagles, I see a team who's 13-2 without Dallas Goedert. I see a team who has played more game, who's played at least over the past 3 seasons, 2022 to 2024, has played around 15 games without this man, and they're 13-2 in those games. So I think not having Dallas Goedert in the game affects the Eagles significantly less than the Chiefs not having Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice. And we were talking about it offline.
Yeah.
The moment Xavier Worthy went out, you saw, and again, he went out on like the second play of the game. So it wasn't like their offense was really able to develop. So it wasn't like their offense was really able to develop, or they really had to make the most drastic transition without him, because again, they were only 2 plays into the game. But not having Worthy out there changes what you do offensively. He's a guy that can take the top off the offense. They use him to take those shots. They use him on those jet sweeps and so on and so forth, and to get him in space. You don't have that anymore. And on top of that, the Chargers were able to get so much pressure, the Chiefs just completely went right to their quick game. They didn't even try to really push the ball downfield. They had their spots with Tyquan Thornton. So somebody you probably want to watch. But overall, the Chiefs, they nickel and dime their way down the field whenever they could. And it was a struggle bus for Patrick Mahomes. And I think that's where I think that's where we should kind of remain, right? Let's stay on the Eagles defense side of the ball versus this Chiefs offense.
Yeah.
Let's start in the trenches. Let's do that. The trenches.
Um,
I see a flaw in that Chiefs offensive line. What are you seeing from that Chiefs offensive line? And let's just see if our thoughts are aligned in that regard.
Like we were talking earlier, I was watching film of the Chargers game, but concentrating specifically on Kansas City's offensive line. And they got a tackle playing guard. So they're still trying to figure some things out. Let's not forget that it's super, super early in the season. So they're trying to figure some things out too. Jawan Taylor had his struggles. Kingsley,
as a reminder, they no longer have Joe Tooney as well. They no longer have Joe Tooney's in Chicago, I think, right?
Tooney and Caliendo was out of there. So those were Joe Tooney wasn't a weak link. He was playing out of position.
Yeah.
So they're out of there. So you got guys coming in. Jawan Taylor, who got his big payday, was making big time mistakes last week, and they cost him. So, and then this guy Kingsley Sumatea, he was giving up some pressures. So overall, I still think we have the advantage with our defensive line over their offensive line. And like we were saying, Patrick Mahomes is going to have to get rid of the ball awfully quick. So let's see if the defense can capitalize on that, because right now we have the advantage at linebacker. At the linebacker spot, we got 2 of the most athletic linebackers in the league with Zach Bond and Jihaad. So that lends to our advantage. But you can never take Patrick Mahomes out of the game. 1-5 is going to find a way to do something, and throw the ball off the top of his head, and hit somebody downfield. He just has a way of doing things like that. He did it even in the game with the Chargers. He had a couple passes, and it was like, how y'all let him do that?
Mhm.
Then you got to think about it. Like, we didn't let him do anything. So you got to get him to the ground.
He still is who he is.
Still there.
He still is who he is.
And don't ever forget it. But I think our wild card today, and I am really, really interested to see what Zadarius Smith does. So
let's go there, because there's a rookie on that offensive line with the Chiefs, Josh Simmons, at left tackle.
Yeah.
And between Josh Simmons and Jawan Taylor, they accounted for 6 penalties last week. Jawan Taylor had 4 as the veteran, which is strange.
Very strange.
Josh Simmons had 2. Josh Simmons' penalties were 2 false starts, and Jawan Taylor's were 2 holdings and 2 false starts. Now, timing is a thing that gets better as the season progresses, right? False starts is very fixable. I don't think that's necessarily indicative of a bad player, but it speaks to a lack of discipline, and it speaks to an eagerness. And it also speaks to, in particular with Jawan Taylor, him trying to get off that line early, because I think he's overcompensating for like a knee or an ankle issue that he's been kind of working his way through. It's not significant, but from what I've read, he's not 100%. And again, a rookie at left tackle, and I saw the Chargers getting pressure at the left guard spot. I just think when you think about adding Zadarius Smith to a young, fast pass rush that includes Nolan Smith, Jalen Hunt coming off, Josh Uche, who led the league in pass rush win rate last week, didn't get home, but was getting a lot of pressure. And then you got to throw Jalen Carter back into the mix, who got suspended last week or ejected, however you want to look at it, whatever floats your boat. He did not play last week for his obvious antic, and he's coming back with a vengeance. He's a guy that's highly motivated. I've heard things all week about him just being ultra focused. Everyone's
gonna be ticked off.
Exactly. So I just think the Chiefs, what they do and how they do it, because this is kind of a carryover from last year, if we're being honest. They're not really playing too much differently. And
no, not really.
I just think and they won a lot of games last year because of that defense. I think that defense has taken a tick of a step back. And when your offense hasn't really improved and you're still Mahomes or bust, and your defense is taking a step back, I just think that raises problems for the Chiefs. And again, you mentioned Zadarius Smith. I'm super excited about what this guy's going to bring. I even read that they gave Zadarius Smith BG's old locker. They want him to come in and be that veteran leader.
Yeah.
And Zadarius Smith has been productive no matter where he's been. He's proof of concept. No matter what jersey he's put on, he's been able to get to the quarterback without a problem.
Yeah.
So
and hopefully that'll continue.
Yeah, absolutely. He's playing with some young guns.
He's clearly got gas in the tank, man. So
yeah, he said it. Did you watch his interview? His first interview with the Eagles?
Yeah.
I liked what he had. One of the things that stood out to me the most, 2 things actually. One, he didn't start playing football until his senior year of high school, and it kind of made sense because he started out at a community college, then transferred to Kentucky. Yep. Then the second thing that stood out to me was the fact that he said, "My biggest advice to these young guys coming in is, hey, don't chase the sack. It's gonna come to you.
Yeah.
Don't chase the sack. Be where you're supposed to be, and everything else gonna come to you. Do your job." He just kept he emphasized that a couple times, like he's charismatic. He knows how to weave his way through the media. He had fun with it. He had a good time. I like his energy. And again, for a vet to come in and immediately that be one of the first things he says, he said, "Hey, listen, these guys are talented. If I can give any advice, don't chase the sack. Don't chase it." And that's something that Vic Fangio preaches with his guys. That's one of the reasons why Hassan Reddick got moved, because they felt like he was sack chasing too much. Exactly. And it kind of compromised the defense. So, yeah, man, it's going to be really interesting to see what Zadarius Smith brings to the table playing next to Jalen Carter, because you got to account for him. They're going to double Jalen Carter all night. Absolutely. So that means one-on-one matches for everybody else.
So it's Jalen Carter is going to be ticked off. Zadarius Smith is ready to get out of the gate. And one more thing about Zadarius Smith, man, he does have that personality. that fits what BG left behind. Now, I don't think he is as quite outgoing as BG.
Yeah.
They're
two different guys.
For obvious reasons, and he hasn't been here long enough. So he's never going to have that type of equity in this city. But if he can be a mainstay and a solid vet and just make the plays, like he said, when it comes to him, when you get your opportunity, take advantage of that opportunity. If he can do that, we'll be good to go. So I'm looking forward to seeing him, and I want to see what Vic Fangio is going to do with him.
Yeah, for sure. In his interview, he mentioned how, when practice first started, he said, he started to get his legs under. He had to get his legs under him. He said they ain't really tell me to do nothing specific. They just wanted to, get me moving. He said, but once team activity started, everything was under control, physically.
That's a very underrated phrase that we use when we in the mix. I don't have my legs yet. I don't think people understand what that means. Like you out there moving, you running, you still fast, you everything, but it's almost like in the car, like you used to watch the movies, you got a car chase and they would hit that turbo button.
That nitro,
and then it would and when you don't have your legs, you can still move, you can still pursue, you do everything you used to do. But for some reason, you just not getting that extra step to get home or get through that hole or make that catch. You always feel like you a step short. And then when you finally feel your legs, that's when everything comes into play and you start hitting the holes, you start making the catches, and you start getting home and getting your hands on the quarterbacks. So that is a real feeling that I don't think people really understand what that means. But when a player says, I finally got my legs, that's exactly what he's talking about. So
for sure. And he mentioned, I haven't played a football game since January 14th.
Yeah.
Detroit in the playoffs. Like he hasn't, and that's just a fact. And when he said that, I was like, damn, that has been a while. Because, he was in Detroit, obviously, and they made it to the playoffs. I'm like, damn, you're right. He hasn't played a game in a while. But, he's very self-aware. And I even love how he said, look, I'm not trying to prove anything here. Right. I'm just trying to come in, contribute, be a vet to these guys, give them any information that I possibly can give them, and just win football games. Like he's not, and that coincided with his point about not chasing sacks, right?
Right.
Now I'm not here to prove anything. Also, young fellas, don't worry about chasing sacks. It's going to come to you. That speaks to a guy who's here to win football games, who's not here to just. Now, obviously, he has incentives in his contract, sack totals, whatever it may be.
Yeah. But
he understands that the way the game is played is more important than getting a sack for myself, because the defense is going to function significantly better. Again, this actually goes in line with what went wrong with the Chiefs on that final drive against the Chargers. Right. Chris Jones, a vet, a guy who's been doing this for a long time,
stepped out of character,
and got caught sack chasing, and it compromised the defense as a whole. And they got caught with the gut punch of Justin Herbert running 10, 15 yards to ice the game.
Get caught with your hand in the cookie jar, man. And then they called him out on it too.
Yeah, so it's going to be important. It's going to be so important for this defense to really get off the field on third down. Because Mahomes, watching that game last week, he led their team in rushing. And he's going to do everything possible to keep those plays alive. He's going to do everything possible. He's going to try to break you back with those third and long runs, whatever it may be, those third and short runs. Right. Even if it's 4th and 2, he's going to a team like this, they're going to pull out all the stops because they're not as explosive offensively. So they're going to try to get you with a lot of misdirection. They're going to try to get you running sideline. They're going to try to put you in a situation where you have to make the tackle in the open field. They want to make their offense today, in my humble opinion, is going to be predicated on getting the ball out quick and hoping somebody makes somebody miss.
Yeah, I agree with that. And attacking our right side with
Adoree Jackson, yeah.
So,
but Saquon, Jihaad, there's so much speed and athleticism in the middle of the field for the Eagles. Saquon, Jihaad, Cooper DeJean. There's so much speed out there, so much athleticism, so many guys that can get into the run fits, set the edge, come downhill, drop back in coverage. I just think this Eagles defense is not only just too skilled and smart, I just think they're just too fast, too athletic. They can be any and everywhere. They can get to their spots quick. And a guy like Travis Kelce, who's very long in the tooth, a guy who was damn near neutralized in week 1. He only had 2 catches. One of the catches was for a touchdown. But other than that, he was a non-factor in the game. I have a hard time believing Travis Kelce is going to be able to generate consistent separation from guys like Zach Bond, Cooper DeJean, and Jihaad Campbell. I just have a hard time. And on top of that, if I'm the Eagles, I'm completely nulling him out of this game. I want those other guys to make plays.
Here's the here's the pushback with that.
Okay.
You are 100% correct. So just based on who's available for Kansas City, the obvious choice for the number 1 target would be Travis Kelce.
But I think you got to watch Hollywood Brown as well.
Yeah, I agree. But if you go and prepare for the Chiefs, you're not preparing for Hollywood Brown. You're trying to stop Mahomes. And Kelce.
Yes,
right.
Correct.
So Kelce becomes the ultimate decoy. And it kind of goes back to what I was saying. Well, what do? Well, you put it, depending on how the Eagles play, if they playing in zone, if they playing in match, whatever they're going to do, you put Travis Kelce in a situation where he's tying up those linebackers in the middle. So you can get Hollywood Brown on Adoree Jackson. Forget everybody else. Who else we looking at? Marquise Brown. So you got Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Thornton.
Yeah,
so
they're missing Worthy. They're missing Jalen Royals.
Right.
Missing
but I'm looking at the people that are available. So Quinyon, Coop, they can take Thornton and Smith-Schuster. But I guess my point is, don't be surprised if Kelce becomes the decoy so they can get to Adoree Jackson. Because it all is based on obviously what defense we're playing. And number 2, how are the Chiefs going to line up? Who's going to be the one that moves around like Xavier Worthy used to? Who's going to be that dude?
I think that's Hollywood Brown.
I agree.
Out of all those guys, he has the best speed. And if I'm the Chiefs, I'm going to find a way to isolate Hollywood Brown on Adoree Jackson and force Adoree's old ass to run.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. So Andy Reid ain't stupid. He saw the tape. Everybody saw the tape. So I'm expecting teams to go after Adoree until he shows that he can stop it.
Yeah.
And they'd be crazy not to.
I definitely agree with that. I think another part of this Chiefs offense that needs attention is this lack of a run game.
Yeah.
Pacheco hasn't really been the same since, I think he had a knee injury or something like that at one point. He really hasn't been the same since then. But to take it a step further, I'm just looking at the production from that game for those running backs, and quite frankly, it was a non-factor. Just to put it into context here, they had 17 carries for 98 rushing yards. Patrick Mahomes accounted for 57 of the rushing yards. So that means between your running backs, they only generated 41 rushing yards on I want to say 10 carries, right? Now, 10 carries between your running backs, 41 total yards, that's averaging 4 yards a carry, right? But this is where things get interesting. For Isaiah Pacheco, 5 carries, 25 yards, longest run of the day, 10 yards. So if you take away that 1 10-yard run, he had 4 carries for 15 yards. That's not effective. Kareem Hunt, 5 carries, 16 yards. His longest run of the day against the Chargers was 6 yards. So you take away that 6-yard run from this, you take away that 6-yard run from the 16 total. That's 10 yards between 4 carries. That's not good. They had those running backs are not explosive. Those running backs are not gonna outrun you. And I just think this is going to be another game where Patrick Mahomes is going to have to do everything for that offense to keep it on the football field.
I agree. The first thing we started out was talking about that offensive line. You can't run the ball if your offensive line is not getting it done in the trenches. And they were on the struggle bus. And as violent as a runner as Pacheco is, if you ain't got nowhere to go, you ain't got nowhere to go.
Right.
So the Eagles can take advantage of that. I think we will, for the same reason I said before about Jalen Carter being ticked off, and then we got somebody new over there with Zadarius Smith. And don't be surprised if Nolan Smith is ticked off a little bit too, for making plays and then getting fined for it.
I'm glad you said that
So,
because it's interesting. Coming from that Cowboys game, 4 Eagles got fined.
Yeah.
4. Jalen Carter, obviously. Nolan Smith for taunting. Quinyon Bennett for a hip drop tackle. And Cooper DeJean for a face mask. 4 Eagles got fined in that game. That game, and it goes to what Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts have been preached after the game and even throughout the week. Discipline, 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 discipline.
Yeah.
That Eagles team last week still won that game, and there was a lack of discipline in certain areas. The rain delay, you lost Jalen Carter. Opening weekend, your divisional rival. It was just so many things went into that pot of gumbo that could have easily been advantage Cowboys, and it was for moments, but for the most part, I just think it's interesting how the Eagles got fined 4 different times for 4 different players, and I just think the Eagles come into this game motivated. I actually like the fact that they didn't blow out the Cowboys last week when I think about it in hindsight, because it forces you to kind of look in the mirror. They had 10 days off to really kind of self-scout and really just look at some things and say, okay, all right, what do we got to clean up? Where can we tighten up? Okay, we're better than this. And that's the thing, right? A lot of the things that went wrong for the Eagles last week, they have another gear beyond that, right? And this is the perfect transition to the offense. The offense, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith weren't really able to get off last week like we're used to seeing. And
it couldn't have been a very nice film session last week.
Yeah, and Kevin Patullo got a lot of criticism for that. A.J. Brown spoke out. He said a lot of people talked about me being hurt or not getting separation, all that kind of stuff. He said, look, that wasn't the case. They zoned me all day. I didn't get a single man rep. They rotated coverage towards me, and they just took me out of the game. But it was what it was. I'm not hurt, all that kind of stuff. So that's that's good to hear. I'm going to take his word for it, but I expect a big day. Typically, what happens in Philadelphia Eagles lore, whenever there's a game, A.J. Brown does not sort of quote unquote go off, or he is kind of iced out of the game, not intentionally, but he's iced out of the game. The following game, he normally answers the call.
Yes, and we would be well served to get him the ball early and often. You ain't got to send him deep because they're going to be expecting that. Do what he does best. Hit him across the middle, quick slant, let him break a tackle, turn a 5-yard play into a 10 to 15-yard splash play. So I'm good with that. Just get the ball in his hands. Also, we got to get Saquon going early, and they got to stop with all of the inside-only stuff. Again, we back at this again. We got to start getting the ball off tackle and outside. Either pitch him outside or let him jet motion him. Whatever you got to do to get him outside, because you got to do that to soften up the defense a little bit. If the linebackers are preempted to run, that's going to set up your inside zones a little bit.
Yeah, every time they did an outside run against the Cowboys, they were able to crack it for 10+ yards. Like the one in particular, the pitch play, it was the same pitch play they did against the Commanders in that NFC Championship game. The same one. They took that like 15 yards almost, like 15, 20 yards. Like if I'm the Eagles, you have to attack this rookie. You have to attack the edges and not run right into Chris Jones' lap. You got to make Chris Jones run sideline to sideline.
Exactly. And not for nothing, Chris Jones going to be ticked off this week too, after everything that just happened to him. Very, very visible tongue lashing by his teammates, and he clearly made the mistake. Yeah, he ain't in a good mood either. So we gotta be able to win at the line of scrimmage, as always. That ain't nothing groundbreaking. But it seems very difficult to do in execution sometimes. And we still are sitting here around here saying that, hey, the Eagles with Jeff Stoutland still have the best offensive line in the league. Okay, we got to prove that. And last week we did not. So not to mention, Dallas Goedert is out. So let's see what this kid Latu is going to do. Our tight ends still are average at best blockers.
Yes.
And hopefully that doesn't become problematic the longer the season goes.
Yeah.
Because we got to be able to get around that edge. Is that a reason why we can't get Saquon outside in some situations? Possibly. Because you need that block on the edge. You got to take care of the edge. His job is to contain. And if you don't get hands on him, you stuck.
Well, this goes into what the Chiefs are going to try to do, right? The Chiefs, there's a lot of history here. The Chiefs and the Eagles, have met 4 times prior to this. 2 in the regular season, 2 in the Super Bowl. And all those times, really, the Eagles really haven't been able to really generate the most potent running game.
Right.
And I give credit to Kansas City for doing what they have to do to take out the Eagles running game and forcing Jalen Hurts to beat him with his arm. But that's the thing, right? It's just one of those situations where thinking about how that Super Bowl went, and obviously it's a different day. These teams are different. I just look at the defense and I say Spags is still Spags.
Yeah.
And people still have the same approach when it comes to trying to stop the Eagles offense. And they're gonna still continue to choose the lesser of 2 evils, and that is Jalen Hurts dropping back and delivering the ball multiple times a game. I think the Chiefs and Spags are going to still try the same game plan. Damn near, they're going to try to shut down Saquon and force Jalen Hurts to beat him, and they're going to try to make plays and I just don't see too many routes of entry for this Chiefs defense outside because they played so much.
Right.
Like they played every single year in the Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts era. They played every single season against each other. I just don't see how Spags and that defense can reinvent the wheel when they just gutted you in the Super Bowl for the way they did, and you delivered your best quote unquote game plan, or the game plan that was only afforded to you.
Well, also remember though, because we talked about it before that game, they gambled. They gambled with the whole situation with Saquon. The Saquon getting 2,000 yards just changed everybody's game plan. So now you got to start boxing up Saquon, 7 and 8 in the box on the regular. And like we said, especially going into the Super Bowl, if you choose to do that, that means Devontae and AJ are on islands. And you got a safety in the middle that's got to play that deep middle. So can he play both sides? Probably not. So I'm going to take that bet every time, and we burned them on it. But they had to take that gamble because Saquon was just Saquon was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So if Saquon doesn't have that level of success this year, then yeah, that's going to put more pressure on Jalen Hurts to do something in the air. So
right.
This is where the blame goes, not blame, but this is where the pressure and the expectations of Kevin Patullo really come into the picture. Because now you know what everybody's going to do. You know everybody's going to bracket over to get to AJ to shut him down. If we can shut AJ down, we'll take our chances trying to stop Smitty and everybody else. But we got to shut him down. That's what everybody's number one option is. So if you know that's coming, how do you combat that? Very similar to go back a couple years when we played that game in Tampa, right? Everybody and their mother knew that Tampa was going to blitz the hell out of us. And it seemed like that game we had no hot routes ready, nothing ready for that blitz. And then we're looking at Sirianni like, what were y'all doing in practice all week? You knew this was coming.
Mm-hmm.
And how did we look the way we look? Now you fast forward to now, we know they're going to try to keep Saquon contained and put the pressure on Jalen Hurts to beat you in the air. But Saquon hasn't even really got revved up yet. So we're still in the experimentation phase, figuring out, okay, is our line still the best offensive line in football? You can't just have the title. You got to do something with it. So, again, all of this falls under the umbrella of, hey, let's get to game 4 before we give a real test sample of what we have as the Philadelphia Eagles. Because honestly, we don't know. This is preseason game 2 for the starters.
Very good point. I think that doesn't get emphasized enough that the Eagles always use these first few games of the season as a preseason game, like you said, right? And I just think I think it's been unfair to criticize Kevin Patullo so early in the game, so early in his tenure as the OC. I think one thing that stood out from that Cowboys game is that even though AJ and Smitty weren't able to get off, clearly there were options for Jalen Hurts to get that ball out of his hands quick to Dallas Goedert, get it to the running backs, hit Dotson deep. I still saw a quarterback that when his first and number 2 option were not at his disposal, was still able to move the ball, was still able to get the ball out of his hands efficiently. When things broke down, he made plays with his legs. He was instinctive. I think what we saw in Jalen Hurts is exactly what's needed under these circumstances. Because remember, when Brian Johnson was OC, he took over. It kind of just seemed like there was a lack of usage of your number 3 and 4 and 5 guys to get that ball out of your hands when AJ and Smitty weren't available. And I just saw a guy in Jalen Hurts that with the new, because they're going to compare those 2 situations with the new OCs. Right. They're going to use that as a benchmark to figure out if Kevin Patullo is good or not, right? And I just think with the way Jalen Hurts played in week 1, just being efficient, effective, not allowing the blitz to rattle him, making things happen with his legs, getting the ball out of his hands, being decisive, trusting Will Shipley, trusting Dallas Goedert, trusting Jihaad Dotson, right? I think that bodes well for this offense in the long term if guys like that can continue to be threats and continue to help move the chains, because it's only going to make things easier for A.J. Brown, only going to make things easier for Devontae Smith. Like I said, this Eagles team has another gear. They got another gear offensively. And A.J. Brown and Devontae not going off last week, it's going to bode well for them this week. I really believe that. And also, the A.J. Brown versus Trent McDuffie matchup was undefeated. Trent McDuffie can't, with all due respect to Trent McDuffie, he's a very talented brother, one of the best quarters in the league. Trent McDuffie can't fuck with A.J. Brown. It's been proven on several occasions. He just can't. He's too small. He just can't. He can't. And Smitty has always had a good game against the Chiefs. That's just the reality.
Right. That's fair. But so again, you got
So again, Spags, he's a smart brother. I know Spags is going to do everything possible to get that ball out of Jalen Hurts' hands quick, going to blitz, going to say different things, give him different looks, and the cornerback blitzes, because we saw that last week against the Cowboys when they started sending Trevon Diggs and Deron Bland.
Yeah.
In the second half, after the delay, we saw that have a little bit of an effect. We know the Chiefs love doing that with Trent McDuffie. So, and Kevin Patullo's been here. He saw how this thing played out. He's been here for all these matchups. Kevin Patullo has to take that next step going into this week to open up his offense a little bit more. I think before the first half is over, A.J. Brown's going to have 2 touchdown catches. I really do.
I can see that happening. I think that. Do you think they're going to try to spy Jalen? Because that's another.
Yes.
That's another gamble. Because so if they do spy,
that means you're giving up a pass rush. That means your pass rush is a body weaker.
And that means your tight end should get a lot of clout because you dedicating somebody for Jalen Hurts. So that's a linebacker.
Just to sit there and spy him. That's it.
Sit there and spy.
That means your coverage is compromised and your pass rush is compromised.
That means there should be, if they do that, that means there should be a hole somewhere. So Spags is no dummy. We got the best of him last time we played him, but he still ain't stupid. He still got some of the best defensive schemes ever. So we still have to keep that in mind, and we can't be short-sighted on the fact that, hey, they got beat with, they beat the Chargers, and, that game came down to the wire. Let's not get it twisted. That game came down to the wire, and they made the right play, and the Chiefs made the wrong mistake at the worst possible time. So they just not all of a sudden trash.
Mm-hmm.
But people get too overzealous with situations like that, especially when you're talking about teams that all of a sudden you don't like anymore. When you got a squad, when you got an organization that wins on the regular, they fall out of favor quick. That's what happened with the Patriots. Like, I always find it funny that for as many people that don't like the Patriots because of Tom Brady and everything, and I'm like, y'all didn't grow up in the 70s and 80s when the Patriots were god awful. Patriots were worse. Like, Patriots were, I don't think people realize how bad the Patriots were.
They were terrible.
Patriots and the Buccaneers. They were laughable teams. And now you flip it to the point because Tom Brady shows up, and now everybody hates the Patriots because they want to see somebody else win.
Mm-hmm.
So, Kansas City got a little bit of that, and some of the personalities and with some of the stuff that Mahomes' brother was doing, and then you got the Taylor Swift thing, and then you got heck before with Tyreek Hill, people get fatigued from that, so they're looking for something else. However, that doesn't take away the fact that they were playing winning football at one point in time, and they just didn't forget how to do that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think for me, I just see a Chiefs team that's been on borrowed time since the beginning of the 2024 season.
Hey, everybody got a clock.
When I think about just how they've won a lot of those games, they were a lot of close games. Defense showed up big time for them.
Yeah.
A blocked field goal there, a missed field goal there. These very innocuous wins. Now, granted, they win because they know how to win. They've been doing it for a long time. That's a dynasty for a reason. But I see a wounded dog here. I see a team. I see a team who got smoked in the Super Bowl. Then opening week in Sao Paulo, they lost to a Chargers team that they've been beating up on for like the past 3 or 4 seasons, and maybe longer. The Chargers have not beaten the Chiefs in quite some time. And when I think about it from that perspective, it's like, okay, the Super Bowl happened how it happened. Your divisional rival beat you. They never beat you, but they beat you, and they controlled you.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. They controlled you throughout that game. I know the Chiefs made it. They had opportunities, right, to probably be in position to win the game, but I felt like the Chargers controlled that game for the most part and won it decisively, despite what the score says.
Yeah, it went both ways a little bit. Yeah,
and now they get the week 2 against the Eagles. I see cracks in the armor. I see the aura beginning to diminish. I see I see teams potentially looking at the Chiefs like, okay, if the Chiefs got their ass handed to them in the Super Bowl and they open the season 0-2, what are we seeing here? What is this becoming? And again, Mahomes is still Mahomes. You're gonna always have a shot with that guy. You're gonna always have a shot. But if your defense takes a step back and you guys were already kind of getting by on the skin of your teeth offensively, it's like, at what point do we look at the Chiefs and say, hey, maybe they're not the best team of their division anymore? They probably got the best quarterback. They're always going to have the best quarterback. But are they the best team?
They might not be. But the same rules apply whether you are the best team or not. All you got to do is, fight, crawl your way to that playoff finish line. Once you get there, everybody's wiped clean, and they brush you off and they stand you up, and then you start again because everybody's in the same spot. Mm-hmm. So as long as 1-5 is back there calling the shots, as far as I'm concerned, Kansas City always has got a shot. So now you can look at history and say, I heard him say this morning, so it's not like I'm pulling this out of my head. When the Chiefs go 0-2, I think it's like what they say is like a 12% chance that team makes the playoffs or something like that.
Have they ever started the season 0-2 in the Mahomes era?
I don't think so.
I don't think they have.
I don't think so. But anything can happen. Every situation is different. Every season is different, and the aspect of injuries is ever present. And the wrong injury to the wrong person on the right team could spell devastation. We know what that looks like. So we had a couple scares ourselves. So it's still too early. It's weird because everything you say, you are 100% spot on. Mm-hmm. But it is so early that
it is.
A lot of these teams and a lot of these situations could do a 180 at any given time before the halfway point of the season. So, I always tend to pump my brakes on it. Leave that thing in the oven for about 2 more weeks.
Mhm.
Leave it in the oven for about 2 more weeks, and then when you pull it out, you're gonna press on to make sure it's done on the inside, poke it with
Yeah.
your toothpick. You're
Mhm.
gonna do all of that stuff, man. And you are week 4, you are really gonna understand what type of team you have, because week 4, you know your pluses and your minuses without a shadow of a doubt. We talking about Adoree Jackson, but Adoree Jackson can go out and have a great game, and then we totally forget about what happened in week 1.
That's a
Then
good
we got to
point.
see it again in week 3, because now it's even. You got a plus and a minus, so they cancel each other out. So now you at even ground. What do you do in week 3 and week 4? And then by week 4, like I said, week 4, we'll be able to know if Adoree Jackson is going to make an impact or not. Or hopefully, Vic Fangio's got another option right there, because that's the other scary part.
Mhm.
What happens? Let's just say theoretically or hypothetically that Adoree Jackson has another subpar game, and then he starts in week 3. Then I'm thinking to myself,
I actually think if he has a subpar game this week, he doesn't start week 3.
I agree. But what if he does?
What if he does?
My point is like, then I'm like, that means you saw 3 weeks of what you saw, and we don't have an answer. We don't have a response. To me, that's a little bit more telling than anything else. So, but we're not there yet. We're not there yet. Adoree Jackson is a pro. He's been in this league for a long time, and you don't stay in this league for nothing. So whatever it took to get you to stay here, to be in this league for that long, you got to bring that up to the front of the line quick, fast, and in a hurry. If not, you're going to be picking spinners off the bench, or at worst, you will be promoted to fan. So the ball is in his court. And as a player, most players, that's the way they want it. Put the pressure on me. I'll show you what I can do. Well, now you got it, bro. And you better show and prove, because Philadelphia's got a very short fuse when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to agree. I think overall, both teams are coming into this game motivated. Highly
Agreed.
motivated. Obviously, the Super Bowl did what it did, and Chiefs, no matter as much as you want to turn the page, you can't. You don't forget that.
Correct.
The way that happened at that magnitude on that stage, you don't forget your worst ass whipping. You never you never forget it. You never forget it. So I'm looking forward to seeing how both teams rectify the issues that came up for them the previous week.
Yeah.
And I just think overall, though, for the Chiefs in particular, your best players on both sides of the ball. That's not the quarterback. That's not the quarterback, by the way. Your best players on both sides of the ball, that's not Patrick Mahomes, are a 31-year-old Chris Jones and a 35-year-old Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
And
valid points.
Yeah, I think both players are still able to affect the game. The question is, how much can they affect the game? I like George Karlaftis on that defensive line for the Chiefs, 24 years old, young guy. But he had some boneheaded penalties last week. He can be a little overeager as well. Overall, again, both teams are highly motivated. I expect a good football game until it's not. So I guess at that point, we can start to get to our predictions for this game, some bold predictions, our score predictions, and then we could transition to giving you guys our week 2 NFL preview, for the other game. So make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. We really do appreciate the love and the support. You guys are tuned into the Bald Eagles podcast featuring Markus Thomas from Pro Fan Talk, and I'm your guy, Tone DeShields II from Truck It Up Sports.
I got a question for you.
Or we lose. We just got trust in the game. What's your question, my guy?
When you look at our roster,
mm-hmm.
and then look at the Chiefs rosters,
mm-hmm.
right? Both offense and defense. And if you in the chat, put your answers in the chat. When you look at Kansas City on both sides of the ball, at how many spots is it just a guy? How many spots? We got Lane Johnson is not just a guy.
It's advantage Eagles by far.
Yeah. Mailata is not just a guy. Jalen Hurts is not just a guy. Saquon is not just a guy. Devontae and AJ, not just a guy. Now, when you flip it, and you look at Kansas City's defense, Chris Jones is not just a guy. Who else is not just a guy?
Drew Tranquil,
Nick Bolton.
I think Nick Bolton is a solid linebacker. I think he's good. I think Spags figured out how to use him. I don't know how effective he would be in any other defense, but because he's an undersized guy, but
correct.
Spags knows how to use Nick Bolton.
Very hesitantly, I would say right now, Nick Bolton might be the best player on their defense.
Really?
I say that very hesitantly because I don't have a big enough sample size. But I'm looking at it from the standpoint of who's that person on the defense that's always going to be there, always going to be where they're supposed to be, always going to make the play they're supposed to make. That's how I see it.
Then I'm rolling with Drew Tranquil on that every day of the week. I'm rolling with Drew Tranquil in that regard. Trey McDuffie obviously is not just a guy, but other than that, I think their DB room can be had.
Agreed.
There was the windows that Justin Herbert was throwing at were you could fit a minivan in them.
Yes. So
they
were dicing them up.
Yeah.
They made Justin Herbert look real good.
And I know, and Justin Herbert he's a good quarterback talent wise. You know, I have my own opinions about him outside of that game, but he showed up in that game tremendously.
Right.
And again, those windows he was throwing to were just gnarly, bro. Yeah. I'm like, yo. And another thing that stood out in that game, they were very susceptible to the play action.
The Chiefs?
Yeah. And the Chargers don't even have a Saquon Barkley. Or you know, they had Amari Hampton. But I just saw that they bit on that play action so bad in that game.
Yeah.
So much.
But that I think about that stuff and it's like, you are 100% correct. It is so very obvious, and we probably still won't do it.
Yeah. And look, the Chiefs are going to make adjustments, right? They're going to make teams make adjustments. You know, it's never 1-to-1 when it comes to this analysis, right? You know, we're just doing our best to kind of predict what's going to happen. At the end of the day, it's a different opponent. It's a different week. You had time to look at film. You had time to iron things out. I just think before that Super Bowl, a lot of people overcooked it. They overthought it. You know, they thought they said you can't bet him. You just can't bet against Mahomes, though. You just can't bet against them. That was their
KC barbecue.
That was their logic.
That was their logic.
Simple as that. It was never when it came to campaigning for the Chiefs in that game, their logic didn't go beyond you just can't bet against Mahomes. Because you know what they would do? They'll say, hey, the advantage Eagles here, advantage Eagles here, there. But I just can't go against Mahomes. Exactly. And they overthought it.
And we talked about that, man.
They overcooked it.
So why watch the film?
So why would I overcook this matchup?
I agree 100%.
The Eagles are just better. They're better.
They're better. And like we said, the Eagles, like even last year when we talked, like did they not see Caliendo and the struggles he was having all year? Did they not see that? And then did they not understand that Patrick Mahomes does not block? He's the quarterback. He's not an offensive lineman. And that's where your bread is buttered. And I don't understand. No, I take that back. I do understand why people would still, pick the
It's
Chiefs.
equity. It's equity. It's all it is.
It is. That's the perfect word. It is equity.
Instead of people really paying attention to who they were last year, they just bought into the equity. And I understand it. Don't get me wrong. I understand it.
But it don't make sense.
But if there was any other team, we're not doing it. We're just looking at them objectively.
Correct.
But because
if it was anybody else, but because it was Mahomes,
we just said, hey, but you can't bet against them.
You can't bet against him. He's going to three-peat. They was itching for that three-peat. They was itching for it. But hey, you got to play the game.
Another thing that I want to bring up too. Remember how I said that mystique is wearing off?
Yeah.
Typically in situations like last week, Chiefs Chargers, Mahomes finds a way in those situations.
Yeah, he does.
Finds a way. That didn't happen.
He was pressing.
That didn't happen.
He was pressing.
And again, only one game. So much more football to play. I think their offense is going to be significantly better once Rashee Rice gets back off suspension and Xavier Worthy gets healthy. I think they will be better. I expect the Chiefs to have a 4 or 5 game win streak somewhere because they are who they are, and they're
Right.
not playing the Eagles every week. You
Right.
know, there are going to be some layups, but part of those layups came the mystique, the aura that they brought in. Some teams lost before the game started with them.
Yeah.
What happens when that mystique is gone? When teams are not afraid of you anymore? When teams aren't afraid to put hands and feet on you? They're not afraid to punch you in the mouth.
They got to find a way. They got to find a way, and
That's
they better
the
have some
challenge.
players who can step up to the plate. That's the key.
Yeah.
So
I
the
agree.
guys
So
that you know, the names that you know, and we experiencing the same thing to a degree.
yeah,
But the names that you know
yeah.
Are not as effective as they used to be. So
Yeah, a lot of people are buying that Packers stock right now. They're really excited about that team. But like, listen, they bought the Saints stock last year when the first 2 games. Remember last year, those first 2 or 3 games, everybody was like, "Oh my God, the Saints!
They look good though.
They look
good.
fantastic. Who's going to stop the Saints? Are the Saints Super Bowl contenders?" And then they ran into the Eagles in week 3, and then they got reminded that they weren't the same sense. Let's call it what it is. They weren't the same sense. So the Packers, they look good. That defense is playing fast.
Jordan Love was odd because he looked good, but when I looked at the stats and I was like, "That's it."
You want to know what happened? He put up most of those yards in the first half.
Yeah,
and then
I was like, "Wait a minute."
And then the second half, he only had like 70 passing yards, 60 passing. Like
they
bit down.
Yeah,
they bit down, and there was moments in that game where Commanders had opportunities to close that gap, had opportunities to tie that game because there was a point where the game was 17-10.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, they can't let them, and they were just letting them hang around. I'm like Green Bay. If you're going to win this game, you cannot let these guys hang around for as long as you did.
And the Commanders in trouble.
And you know what? That's a team I don't need the 4 game sample size to tell you that.
They are in trouble, and they are in trouble because they injuries. You lost Austin Eckler.
Mm-hmm.
You got rid of what was his name? Brian Robinson?
Brian Robinson. They got this kid named Jaworski Merritt.
Yeah.
They call him Bill. But they weren't able to run the ball effectively. Jaden Daniels wasn't able. I was talking to one of my coworkers, and the game was on, and they were like, "Hey, who you got in this game? Packers, Commanders." I said, "Well, listen. If the Packers can prevent Jaden Daniels from getting out on the perimeter and breaking their back, if they can turn this, and if they can completely eliminate that running game for the Commanders, Packers win this game easily." Yeah. And that's pretty much what happened. The Commanders couldn't run the ball with the running backs. Jaden Daniels wasn't able to break the pocket. They were harassing him. His blocking was awful. They lost horrible. They lost Austin Eckler for the season. They lost Dietrich Wise.
I felt so bad for that.
I felt bad for him. He tore his Achilles, and Dietrich Wise is done for the year. He's on the D line. So your D line is compromised. You already struggled stopping the run in that game in key spots. You struggled to generate a consistent pass rush. And you couldn't run the ball yourself. You were Jaden Daniels or bust. Those corners that Commander secondary, Marshawn Lattimore, does he not have it anymore? Like I'm trying, like he doesn't look like the Marshawn Lattimore from the Saints days. He does not.
And they and I think this is going to happen because of Jaden Daniels, just his youth.
Another thing, real quick before you keep cooking, I told people about that Cliff Kingsbury offense.
You did.
I telling people about it.
Yeah.
That whole quick game, that screen, that screen game that they love doing with Jaden Daniels getting the ball out. I'm telling you, I compare, and I was talking about this a couple of days ago, or I think yesterday. That Cliff Kingsbury offense, it's like the common cold. This is what I mean by that. It's like the common cold, that Cliff Kingsbury offense.
Yeah.
It annoys you at first, but eventually it goes away.
Right.
It goes away. We've seen it when he was the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. Their offense to be super explosive at first. Those first several weeks, or first handful of weeks. Then all of a sudden, you figure it out.
Yeah.
It's explosive one season. But then you figure it out ultimately. Like the Cliff, I told Commanders fans, Cliff Kingsbury will not be long for you during the Jaden Daniels. Maybe he was good for Jaden Daniels' rookie year.
Right.
Because the concepts were simple. But in the end, the Cliff Kingsbury offense is like the common cold. It annoys you. It ticks you off a bit. But it's not sustainable. Teams figured it out. I think Aqib Talib talked about it.
Yeah.
You know,
he did.
He was sitting with Kay Adams. He said, "Look, that quick game, screen game, it was cute at first. Now he in Jaden Daniels in year 2 now. Those concepts,
nothing, man. How did Aqib Talib end up on the show with Kay Adams?
Well, he was a guest.
Yeah, but he was one of the most notorious guys in the league at one point.
Aqib Talib is also on that new Gridiron show with Skip Bayless and Gilbert Arenas.
Yeah.
I like that show, actually.
Yeah.
I kind of like it. I'm gonna be honest. I kind of like it.
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I like it. I can't front, man.
Aqib Talib. Was that him or his brother that was the chain snatcher?
No. Aqib snatched Michael Crabtree's chain.
Yeah, I remember that game.
Yeah. But yeah, that those concepts, the Commanders on offense, that offense, in my opinion, those concepts aren't going to change.
Right.
They're not. Cliff Kingsbury is who he is. So, you know, I think the Commanders are in trouble. I think they're ahead of schedule. They're the oldest team in football. And I still, as much as I like the head coach, as much as I like the quarterback, you know, I think the jury is still out on the GM. I think he has potential to be a good GM. He's made some good moves, but
yeah, you're not gonna see that until it just takes time.
But here's the problem, though, right? Because of how things happened last year for that team, I think, and this is why they're the oldest team in football, I think they're trying. I think what happened last year gave them a false sense of where they really are, because they've invested in a lot of older players. They're the oldest team in football, and typically you bring in those veterans when you feel like you're maybe a piece or two away. You're just trying to stabilize a young team, right. And you know you feel like you can make a long run in the playoffs when you got that many veterans on your team. That team is old, and I think they allowed that Jaden Daniels rookie year to overinflate where they really are. I think they need to really invest in the youth way more. You brought in the old Debo. You brought back an old Bobby Wagner. You got an old Zach Ertz, and Zach Ertz is still making plays. Don't get me wrong.
Zach Ertz is still the security blanket.
He's still making plays. Do not get me wrong. But I just think that team misjudged where they are. Austin Eckler, an older running back.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how old Dietrich Wise is, but they invested in older guys. Marshawn Lattimore, an older corner. You know what I'm saying? I just think
it adds up quick. The numbers add up quick.
Yeah, I just think they overestimated where they are, and they're going to have to pay for that this season.
Yeah. But what I was saying about Jaden Daniels was the way he's making plays. I think he's going to end up exposing himself, and somebody going to catch them ribs. He already got bent back. He got dinged up.
Yeah, you start that somersault. They cracked him. He did a whole flip in that game. They were hitting him a lot in that game. And when your offense, when you got to overcompensate offensively like that,
that young fella don't start getting his butt out of bounds or getting down on the ground, he's gonna have problems because he's not a big guy, and he's taking a lot of punishment.
Yeah,
and it's only going to continue.
Your season's not going to be long with him having to carry them like that.
Nope.
Again, no consistent running game with the running backs. They had a good week against the Giants, but the Giants still had to build up equity. So you did what you did against the Giants, okay, but you still struggled to put them away, in my humble opinion. You only beat them 21-6. And the Giants got into the red zone a lot in that game. They just couldn't finish.
Yeah. Isn't it funny that the Giants have the same issue that they've had the last 3 years?
Offensive line.
Before they got rid of Saquon?
Offensive line. That's why.
They don't have no O-line. You got Jackson Dart back there and Russell Wilson running for his life, and you ain't got no offensive line.
That's why when I see people trying to quickly jump off the Russell Wilson train, I know Russell Wilson doesn't – his leash is short because you got Jackson Dart in the rafters. I know people are excited to see him, but I can't – it's hard for me to properly evaluate Russell Wilson behind that offensive line.
Yeah, I was about to say, and don't put Jackson Dart behind that offensive line.
And that's my thing. Their campaign fans are like, put Jackson Dart in. You think Jackson Dart gonna improve the offensive line?
Be careful what you ask for.
Be careful. Y'all might ruin them. Be careful.
Get his head blowed up.
Exactly. So we'll see. But do you have a score prediction for this Eagles Chiefs game, my man? Like, do you have any bold
Bold
let's start with bold prediction. Yeah, give me a bold prediction for the offense for the Eagles, and give me a bold prediction for the Eagles defense.
My bold prediction is Adoree Jackson is going to have a pick 6.
Whoa, I like
that's
it.
about as bold as I can get.
For sure. Okay, so that's your defensive.
On offense,
Adoree Jackson
AJ,
pick 6 with offense.
AJ goes over 100.
Interesting. I like it. My bold prediction for the Eagles defense: Jihaad Campbell. Jihaad Campbell strip sack on Patrick Mahomes.
I like that.
Jihaad Campbell strip sack on Patrick Mahomes. Eagles scoop and score.
Ooh, I like that.
Now I don't know who's going to scoop it.
You know what people don't think about? Jihaad Campbell is faster than Micah Parsons.
Right. Just pure speed, yeah. Just pure speed for sure. So, yeah, I think Jihaad Campbell, my bold prediction for the defense, Jihaad Campbell, strip sack, Eagles scoop and score. Now, my bold prediction for the offense.
Hold on, pause.
Uh-oh, what happened?
Oh, never mind. He heard. Trading for Denzel Ward.
Yeah, that wouldn't come across the wire today.
Nah.
My bold prediction for the offense, I say, because I already told you guys I think A.J. Brown's going for 2 touchdowns in the first half, so that's not really that bold. But, okay, I got a bold one. Saquon Barkley goes for 150 against this Chiefs defense.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
That's bold.
Give the love to the running backs.
Yeah.
Love to my backs.
So bold prediction number 1, Jihaad Campbell, strip sack, Eagles scoop and score. Bold prediction for the Eagles offense, Saquon Barkley goes for 150. Now,
Saquon is still the key, man.
No matter how you want to slice it, he's going to always be the key.
Any good offense, if you have a good running game, that sets the pace because that opens up your play action. It keeps people honest, keeps the linebackers honest, and technically it opens up the middle of your field because you got to keep those linebackers coming up. So we got to get Saquon going, man. We gotta get him outside.
Yeah, Saquon and AJ. I think AJ is gonna have like 3 catches, 2 catches on the first drive.
Yeah,
they're like, again, the Eagles are. That's what they do. They remember the Panthers game to the Steelers game.
Yeah,
Steelers game. First play, boom, AJ. So so yeah, we'll see how it goes for sure. What's your score prediction for this game? Eagles Chiefs. And make sure you guys smash that like button, y'all. Smash that like button. Again, we're live on 2 channels. We're live on Pro Fan Talk and we're live on Chalk It Up Sports. Make sure you guys smash that like button. We appreciate the love. We appreciate the support. You guys have truly been phenomenal. Make sure you guys are on the right side of history in this thing, man. Smash that like button. You guys are tuned into the Bald Eagles podcast featuring Coach Markus of Pro Fan Talk, Markus Thomas, that is, and your guy, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. All right, Markus, what is your score prediction for Eagles versus Chiefs?
I think I agree with Al or AJ rather. 27-17 Birds.
27-17 Birds?
Yep.
Okay. I have the Eagles winning this game 31-20.
I hope you are correct.
31-20. So you and I basically have a 10 game, a 2-possession win for the Eagles.
2-possession win, yes.
2-possession win. I think the Eagles win 31-21. Again, I'm not going to overcook this game. I know Mahomes is who he is, but I'm not going to overcook this like they tried to do in the Super Bowl.
Right.
Leading up to that Super Bowl, they were all like, "Oh, but it's Mahomes, but Mahomes." Listen, I'm not overcooking this. The Eagles are better, top to bottom. Period. The Eagles are winning 31-21. Simple as that.
Yeah, man. I'm with you. Let's get that offensive line. Eagles offensive line. You have got to play better than you did last week.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So. I agree 100%. All right, now let's get to some of these games, man. Let's get to some of these games for week 2. You know, we've We've ironed out Eagles versus Chiefs. We even gave you guys a quick little recap when it came to Packers and Commanders, right? And I had the Packers winning that game. So, all right. So these are Marcus's predictions. So let's work our way through it. Okay, we'll go game by game, and you got your predictions up here. I'll just voice mine.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, first, do you remember what your record was from last week?
I don't. I tried to go back and get the
yeah, you're gonna have to double back. Yeah, we're gonna need you to double back again. Worst case scenario, I can find it and I can isolate it and I'll send it to you. But
yeah, do that. I was looking
because I want to keep track of our win-loss totals, our as far as predictions go for for the season, and then we'll be able to compile that as the weeks go on.
Right.
So like for example, myself last week, as far as my predictions go, I went 7-8 in my predictions.
Okay.
So I have a slightly below 500 record in my predictions. I'm not mad at that.
Probably somewhere in that. I'm probably worse than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll find them and we'll get everything up to date.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But
okay, of course, I didn't think the Commanders were going to beat the Packers.
Yeah, I agree. So me and you were aligned in that regard.
Yeah.
All right. So
very interesting game with the Browns and the Ravens.
Yes, this is interesting. Their Ravens are 0-1. They lost on the road. It's their home opener.
Shouldn't have lost, but
they shouldn't have lost, but they did.
So they're gonna be taking it out on the Browns. And then it's the they're having that celebration from the Super Bowl year. So Joe Flacco was part of that. So that's a weird.
That's funny.
And hey, Joe Flacco had a good game last week. The Browns would have beat Cincinnati if it wasn't for the damn kicker.
That's true.
So, but I don't see the Browns beating the Ravens, and Derrick Henry is going to be he's going to be on something.
Yeah, I just don't think
fumble that ball.
Yeah, I just don't think the Browns can outlast them.
No,
I don't think the Browns have enough answers to generate consistent offense. The Ravens are just going to put up too many points, and the Browns.
But you know what though?
It is a divisional game.
It's a divisional game, and the Ravens defense isn't great either.
Good point. Very good point.
So this will be a game that really tests. I still think the Ravens will win.
Yeah,
but this is going to test Joe Flacco.
Yes. I also have the Bengals. I'm sorry. I also have the Ravens winning that game.
Okay.
I have the Ravens winning that game. Let's go to Jags at Bengals. All right. This is an interesting game to me. The Jags were able to run the ball very well last week, granted against the Panthers, but Travis Etienne looks healthy. But I'm still rolling with the Bengals in this game. I got the Bengals winning this game for sure.
Yeah, I'm giving a biased pick. I'm picking my hometown, even though I think the Jags could probably take this game because Joey Burrow, I don't know what the hell he was on last week. He was on the struggle bus.
Yeah, I just think it's a get right week for the Bengals. You're going up against the Jags team that, again, Travis Etienne. If Travis Etienne is running the ball like that, then we got a different ball game here.
Right. So
we got a different ball game here, but I'm still rolling Bengals.
Yep. Stay with the Bengals, and then the Giants and the Cowboys. I got the Cowboys winning that. I would like the Giants to win this game, but that ain't happening. Here's Dallas.
That part, right? You're in Dallas, but also I think if Dak plays how he did last week, I just think the Giants won't be able to, from a secondary perspective, they're secondary. I just don't think they'll be able to hang with CD and George Pickens. I love the Giants. I love the Giants defensive line with Abdul Carter, Thibodeau, Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence. They're going to get that Cowboys offensive line is going to, this game is going to be won and lost in the trenches. If the Giants can consistently abuse Dak Prescott, then they have a chance. But this goes back to the Giants offense. Can y'all take advantage of your defense doing a good job? Because in week one against the Commanders, that Giants defense gave that offense so many opportunities.
Yeah, they did.
So many opportunities. And the Giants were able to get in the red zone, but they just couldn't score. So I don't know if I trust the Giants offense right now enough to have them win a game on the road in Dallas. So I'm rolling with the Cowboys in that game. I think the Cowboys beat the Giants. Now, Rams at Titans. I got the Rams winning that game.
Yep, I got the Rams. I thought the Rams were going to have trouble last week, and they did not.
They should have, though.
Showed up and showed out.
They should have had trouble, and they didn't.
They didn't.
But I think that's more so. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that Rams win last week is more so bad Texans than good Rams.
I would agree. However, I thought Matthew Stafford was going to have trouble with that back issue. Never knew it existed. If they never told you what it was, you never know. And I think that continues this week.
He still is who he is. He's talented. He knows what to do out there. He's a professional.
And plus, the Titans can't catch.
Yo. Cam Ward was putting that ball in so many places, and they were letting him down.
God. Yo, they would have showed his dad one more time. I was like, please, Pop, stay off social media as much as you can, bro.
Yo, that's gonna be the challenge. Yo, I ain't gonna lie, I can see the challenge in that though. When you a dad and you just you see it, I can see the challenge in that because if I got a son and he's doing, I see him putting the ball there and guys dropping it. Take my phone.
You remember?
Take my phone.
You remember OBJ in Cleveland?
Yeah,
when his dad was making up film study and posting it online. He was like, "Let me show you when my son was open," and they just didn't throw him the ball.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
He was calling them out on film.
But yeah, I got the Rams in that game. I just think the Rams they just got too much. They just got too much going on for the Titans. The Titans are a rebuilding team, rookie quarterback. Granted, they're home, but I just don't think the Titans have enough to beat the Rams. So we'll see how that goes. But nonetheless, I got the Rams like you in that game. I got the Rams beating the Titans on the road. Now let's transition to Bears at Lions. Me and you differ in this regard. I got the Bears winning this game, actually.
Caleb Williams has not shown me that he can beat a team yet. He's too skittish. He's too skittish back there.
I'm gonna be honest. I think people are being way too hard on Caleb for week one. I really think so. I watched that game a couple times.
I understand why you would say that, but he did the same thing last year. So, and what I'm saying is,
I think he looked better in that game than he did last year.
He had opportunities to throw the ball, get the ball to open guys, and didn't. Double clutched it and just took off. Now, if he wants to decide he wants to run, I think Caleb Williams is a lot faster and a lot better runner than most people give him credit for, because Caleb Williams can move. I would even argue he's faster than Jalen.
No, he can move for sure. He could definitely move.
But overall, he looked good in the first half, not so much in the second half.
Yeah, that game was bookended by two strong drives, but there were some moments in between, right? But again, I think that Bears defense is better than what people think. That Bears defense was without their starting corner last week. I think Jalen Johnson plays today. I think. Yeah. I got to double check that though. Bears are coming off a home loss. I think the Bears are trying to get right. I am not sold on the Lions whatsoever. Before the season started, I was out on them.
I'm not sold on the Lions either. But
I think losing Ben Johnson and losing Aaron Glenn.
Dan Campbell ain't losing to the Bears.
Oh, we'll see. Again, losing Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, I think that hurt. I think that's going to hurt them throughout the season, and until they figure out what their offense is and how they want to attack consistently, I just think the Bears, and they got Ben Johnson, so it's going to be a homecoming for Ben Johnson.
Yeah,
there's some storylines here.
Yeah, you're right.
But
right. I'm still picking the Lions.
I'm rolling with the Bears in this game. Yeah, I got the Bears win this game on the road. I got the Bears
and the Dolphins.
All right, Pats and Dolphins. I'm gonna be honest. Dolphins are imploding. I'm rolling with the Patriots in this game.
They are a hot mess, and it is so funny.
I'm rolling with the Patriots. Mike McDaniel has completely lost that team, lost that locker room. They don't respect him as a man. They don't respect him at all. They just see him as a fucking pencil pusher. He's a nerd, and he can't. He has no presence. He has no presence at all. He's just a smart guy. Maybe he can be your offensive coordinator, but he has no. He's there's nothing presidential. There's nothing Kingsley or just head coach about him.
How did he get that job, man?
Because he was on Kyle Shanahan's offense. He was his coordinator, or I think he was his coordinator. I can't remember, but he was on that. He's part of that Kyle Shanahan tree. He's a smart guy, And they just, he got that job strictly because he was a smart dude, and they felt like he was one of the young hot shots coming up. And don't get me wrong, that Dolphins offense was exciting at first, but then eventually the paint started to peel off the walls, and we just got
Did we forget? Did we forget that he got caught vaping on the sideline? Did we just forget that?
That's hilarious, bro. He's such a loser, dude. Anyway,
I wouldn't call him a loser, man, but like
I mean,
look at it
nah.
like
He's a
this.
very rich man. He's not a loser.
He's a super smart dude, but you can't tell me that there were other people in line for that job that would have had a lot more experience than him.
They had somebody in the building that was respected, regardless of what people say. Brian Flores.
Yes,
he was respected no matter what. But
so you mean to tell me that Eric Bieniemy wouldn't have done a better job?
I don't know. I don't know, but
it's funny how people get these opportunities, man.
That's all I'm saying. I'm rolling with the Patriots in this game.
Yes,
it's probably going to be it's probably going to be a one possession win, but I'm rolling with the Patriots. I just think the Dolphins, they just have no identity, and they're just imploding slowly but surely. 49ers at Saints. No Brock Purdy, no Juwan Jennings, no George Kittle. I'm rolling with the Saints in this game.
I'm going with the Saints. Spencer Rattler gets his first win.
Yeah. That Niners team, they got, I don't care nobody say, they were fortunate last week. They shouldn't have beat the Seahawks last week.
No,
they shouldn't have beat them, but they did somehow.
Agree.
So you got to give them credit. But no Brock Purdy, no Juwan Jennings, no George Kittle. He's on IR, I think. Yeah, you're cooked. I'm rolling with the Saints in this game. Mac Jones is your quarterback. Yeah, I'm rolling with the Saints. I'm rolling with the Saints. I got the Saints winning that game. All right. Bills at Jets. This is my upset of the week.
Ooh.
I got the Jets winning this game at home.
I'm not mad at that.
The Jets,
I got the Bills winning, but I'm not mad at that because the Jets defense is for real.
Yeah.
And
that Bills defense,
suspect.
Very suspect. And the way my man Justin Fields played last week with those weapons and making things happen in and outside the pocket, they put up I haven't seen the Jets put up that many points like that in a minute. Their offense just looked good and their defense looked good. They pushed the Steelers to the brink. I like the Jets in this game at home. I think the Bills, I love Josh Allen. I think he's talented, but at some point, Superman runs into Lex Luthor with the kryptonite. It's only but so many times that cape won't work. It's only but so many times.
But it's not going to happen in week 2.
I'm rolling with the Jets. This is my upset of the week, man.
Upset of the week. Okay.
Yep. Jets beat Bills. You got Bills. So I can't wait to revisit it. It's going to be a good game, though.
Yeah.
But this is my upset of the week. Jets beat Bills. Seahawks at Steelers. I got the Steelers winning that game.
I got the Steelers too. Rodgers is getting a little bit more comfortable. Understands what he's got.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm pulling the Steelers at home.
Yeah. Now, granted, that Steelers defense, you got to keep the points off the board. Y'all talented. You got to keep points off the board. But I'm not a Sam Darnold fan whatsoever. I don't believe in him at all. I think Sam Darnold is one of the greatest tricks pulled over the past 365 days. I think Sam Darnold is more so what we saw in weeks 17, 18, and the wild card round more so than what we saw in weeks 1 through 16 in 2024.
You get what you get. You should have found a way to get to Shador. Stop playing.
Yeah, I'm not rolling with the Seahawks at all as long as they're led by Sam Darnold. I'm rolling with the Steelers in this game. We already talked about Eagles, Chiefs. Eagles win that game. Let's transition to Panthers at Cardinals. I'm concerned about Bryce Young personally, and I think the Cardinals win this game.
Yo, what happened to him? Was he crashing out on the sideline? I saw that, but I didn't really look into it.
I didn't see what happened.
I thought the camera caught Bryce Young just like crashing out on the sideline. I can't remember if he was banging his helmet or what he was doing something.
Yeah.
People kind of look at him like, is he okay? You might want to go check.
Slammed his helmet on the sideline.
Check on the young fellow over there.
They were down. They were down.
On you.
They were down 20-3 in the third quarter with 9:45 left. The head coach gave him the old pat on the head and the shoulder pad. He turned around and then he slammed his helmet on the sideline.
Oh my God.
Yeah, man. And they got a new coach in Dave Canales. He's supposed to be a smart guy as well. We'll see if he can turn that team around, but I don't think it's going to be this week. I think
Listen, man, there's a lot of smart guys in the NFL that are not winners.
Because you want to know why? People love getting wrapped up in the scheme and the glitz and the glam and the flash. And look at this guy. Look at these schematics. All the nerds love. Look at these concepts.
You gotta have players.
Can this motherfucker lead men? Do they believe him when he speaks? Seriously, can he make you believe? Like, and I think that's what Nick Sirianni doesn't get enough credit for. Nick Sirianni is a people guy. He understands the pulse of this team. Nick Sirianni knows how to appeal to these players, right? Now, granted, he played in college. He didn't play in the NFL level. He was a wide receiver at Mount Union, but he played the game.
Yeah,
he played the game on the college level. And I just think that they get so caught up in these boy wonders, they need to be trying to find their Alfreds. They get so caught up in these smart dudes. They need to find men that can be followed. This goes for Mike McDaniels as well. He's talented, he's smart, and no disrespect, but he's not a man. He's not the man these guys can follow. I feel how I feel about the Lions, but Dan Campbell, that's a man. Nick Sirianni, that's a man. Robert Saleh, I don't care what happened with the Jets. That's a man right there.
Yeah, he got dicked at the Jets. That was Aaron Rodgers' fault.
Sean McVay, he's smart as hell, but Sean McVay didn't start lifting weights for nothing. When he got that job, he wasn't as cut as he is now.
Right.
Sean McVay is not tall, he's not domineering, but you know what he started doing? He started lifting weights. He got buff. That's a man. He's smart as hell, but that's a man. Clark Kent turned to Superman real quick. That's a man right there. So, nonetheless, I got Cardinals beating Panthers. It is what it is. Now
in Arizona.
This is another game where we differ. Yeah. I got the Colts winning this game. I got the Colts winning this game. They're at home. I like that Colts defense. And I don't know. Daniel Jones looks a little all right behind that Colts offensive line.
Yeah, just imagine what you can get with a good offensive line. Game. I think Sean Payton and Bo Nix have kind of figured something out.
They have. I like them together, by the way.
And I think the Broncos are gonna win this game.
Don't get me wrong. I like the Broncos. I like Bo Nix. I like what they built. Their defense is talented as hell. Nick Bonito on that side of the ball. They're good.
Yeah,
they're good. But there was a little bit of a struggle bus against the Titans. A little bit. They beat them still. Let me make sure what that score was. Let me double check here real quick.
Yeah.
Week 1. Let's see here. What was that score? Yeah, Denver beat Tennessee 20-12. I expected more from Denver last week. Now, granted, maybe I'm sure they're going to clean some things up, but I like that Colts defense.
Right.
And again, I mentioned Daniel Jones behind that line. That offense looked pretty potent. They got Jonathan Taylor back there running the ball. I'm rolling with the Colts. I'm rolling with the home team. Colts beat Broncos. All right. Let's see what we have here.
Yeah. Falcons and Vikings.
Falcons at Vikings. This is an interesting game.
I got the Falcons. JJ McCarthy is good, but he got some warts. He had a good half.
I was torn about this game, but I think I got the Vikings in this game.
Yeah.
The home team, their home opener. I know the Falcons. I know the Falcons are ascending with Michael Pittman.
Bijan Robinson.
Where they gave up that game. Yeah.
I like that.
Oh, wait. Did I overthink this? Wait.
I like that.
Falcons
take this game.
Oh, I think I overcooked this. Let me stick with my pick. I'm rolling with the Vikings in this game.
Okay.
I'm gonna stick with my pick. I'm going to have the courage of my convictions. I'm going to roll with the Vikings.
They're going to test that young boy at quarterback.
They are. They are.
You gonna
They
get
are.
what you get.
Do not get it twisted. They are. Oof. I'm a little nervous about that pick now. But I'm gonna roll with it though. Vikings beat Falcons. You got Falcons though.
Gotta
All right. All right, let's
then
see.
Bucks at Texans and the Chargers
at
at Raiders.
Monday night.
I hate the 2 games on Monday night too.
I'm rolling with the Texans in this game. I think the Texans got to get right. They're at home. I think the Buccaneers got by the skin of their teeth against the Falcons. Granted, it was a divisional game. I like the Texans in this game. I think Texans get right.
I'm sticking with the Bucks. I think Baker Mayfield is playing well, and they have no reason to stop. So it does. Texans are formidable at home, but for some reason, I'm thinking the Bucks gonna take this.
Okay. All right. Last game.
And then Chargers at Raiders.
I'm taking the Chargers in this game.
Yeah, Justin Herbert keeps the momentum going.
Yeah, I'm taking the Chargers in this game. Plain and simple. Not even going to overreact to this. Not even going to overcook it. It is going to be. I do think though, Geno Smith, he always makes it interesting.
Yes, he does.
Got to call it how I see that. He makes it interesting. I am curious to see how Ashton Genty does. But I just think the Chargers in the long run, they're going to be too much.
Yeah, I agree.
And they're just going to outlast them. They're just going to wear on them. I think Amari and Hampton outplays Ashton Genty in this game, though. Both of those guys are rookies. I think Amari and Hampton outplays him in that game.
Depends on how they use Genty.
Of course. And look, they don't play each other, right? They're on the same side of the ball.
Right.
But I like Amari and Hampton. I like the way he runs. So I'm rolling with the Chargers in that game.
Okay.
All right, you guys, that's pretty much our show, man. I mean, we gave you guys our week 2 picks. We gave you guys pretty much the rundown as it comes to Eagles versus Chiefs, broke down the injury report, broke down both sides of the ball for both teams, gave you guys our bold predictions.
Broke down everything.
Yeah, real quick, let's revisit our bold predictions and score predictions for Eagles versus Chiefs.
Yeah, and we got one super chat.
Yes, we do. Where we are? Where are we? Who are student Dr. Shaq? Shout out to you. He says, "Who's going to be the score maker for us, AJ or Saquon?"
Both.
Well, I said AJ is going to have 2 touchdowns in this game, so I think Saquon's going to lead the game with at least 1, especially if he has 150 yards rushing, like I think he will. So
I think it's going to be both.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for the super chat, Doc. Now let's revisit our bold predictions for you. Your bold predictions were what again?
What my bold predictions? Adoree Jackson with a pick 6, and offense was AJ over 100.
Okay, my bold predictions were Jihaad Campbell strip sack.
That's right.
Eagles scoop and score, and Saquon Barkley rushes for over 150 yards in this game. So that's the bold predictions. Now, that's the bold predictions. Now, for our score predictions, your score prediction was
27-17.
27-17. Okay. Mine, 31-20. Eagles. So, there we go. Appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir.
Smash that like button. Y'all know the vibes. Y'all know the energy. Y'all know where our baldies be. You feel what I'm saying? We appreciate the love. We appreciate the support. You guys have been fantastic as always.
As always,
man. Any final words before we get out of here, Marcus?
Nah, let's just continue to go forward. We got to look better on offense, and I really want to see what Kevin Patullo can open up from the playbook. So we're in good shape. Still early, and everybody pump the brakes a little bit. Have reserved enthusiasm, and we're going to see what we're going to see. So,
and it's straight like that. You guys have been tuned in to the Bald Eagles podcast featuring Markus Thomas of Pro Fan Talk. And I'm your guy, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Marcus, play that song, big dog.
Go Birds.
In the city of Philly, where the birds take flight, Eagle swag on the rise. each and every night. Tone and Markus got the scoop ready to ignite. From the lanes of South Street to the Broad Street lights. Dashing like a running back, hitting every play. Blind guys in the zone, never led astray. Talking touchdowns, talking game day. Huddle around the mic, hear what they gotta say. I like an eagle soaring in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by. Bringing the heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, here to